Good afternoon. Welcome along. It is the show with no name. Still got Mr. Luke John Harrison here with me. Funny little insight. Luke was actually probably one of three of my first ever mentoring students back in 2012, and was a tradesman before that. Plumber, weren't you?
Certainly was. Yeah, full-time.
Full-time plumber. Went to a Paul Moore event.
Mm-hmm.
What was that? Can you remember?
Yes, it was at a Manchester hotel, and on the second day, it was a 2-day immersion event. My brain, his business.
Yeah, my brain, your business.
Like just the most overwhelming seminar I've ever been to in terms of information.
Yeah,
there's about 10,000 bits of information. But the second day was fancy dress.
Remember?
Were you there?
I was there.
Yeah.
Paul robbed my fancy dress that day.
What, the big giant cock?
Yep.
Oh, right, yeah. So did you have to change? Or did you have the same one?
No, so this was at a time when Paul had extremely low patience.
You fucking not much has changed.
Not much. More patience than he has ever had, though.
Yeah.
And he had a big inflatable suit.
Yes.
And he was trying to put it on and he couldn't fucking get it on. And he was stressing the fuck out.
Right, yeah.
So behind the stage, I was like, listen, dude, just put mine on. And I swapped with him. So I had the inflatable suit on and he had mine.
Yeah. I actually wore a full-on Spartan outfit. I don't know if you remember.
I remember.
But I paid about 600 quid on eBay for the actual armor.
Yeah.
And it was so uncomfortable and heavy. I had the worst day ever.
So you bought that for that event?
Yeah.
Or you already had it?
Yeah. I had like one or two things, but I filled it out for that event. I had the full shield as well, like the proper actual replica from the film and that. It was just outrageous. Never again.
Do you still have it?
It's in the loft, I think.
You should put it on eBay.
Yeah, I probably should. It's somewhere, yeah. I think I've still got it.
So then you went to that event, and what was it for you? Like, did it just trigger something, spark something for you? Like,
yeah, well, were you
already intrigued in starting your own fitness business? Like, where were you at that point?
Well, when I went to that event, that was kind of like, there was so many ideas that it just fired up something in my brain to think, I think I can do this. Yeah. It was that kind of little bit of belief from somebody else first, like so many ideas, think I could do that, I could do that. And then afterwards, it was because I was still a plumber at that point, and I was miserable. I was totally fucking pissed off in every area of my life, more or less. I didn't want to be in the job I was in. I didn't want to be in the relationship I was in. I didn't want to be in the position I was in. I was snorting coke on a weekend. I was drinking heavy on a weekend. I was doing all the party animal shit. And I was like, I need to start to try to change an element of my life, obviously professionally. I didn't want to be in the plumbing trade anymore, in the building trade. I wanted to do something at least that I had some excitement in. So then I followed the path of, become a PT, do a fitness thing. It looks exciting. And then obviously I stumbled across you, and you helped me get a start with the outdoor boot camps from there. So it was following something that I'd been interested in, but the biggest thing was having the right people around us, mate. People like you, like Paul, like people who were already ahead of you.
Yep.
And I think there's a lot of ego involved with people when they're trying to change. Like they're trying to do it on their own or doing it their way or the way that they think it should do.
Yeah.
You know, when it's like, actually, I need to be the novice here. I need to be the new starter. I need to be okay with being wrong.
Yeah.
That was a big thing, especially when you're in the building trade and in the construction trade, like anything, but there's a lot of ego there. There's a lot of like manly men. Oh, this is wrong. It should be this way, that way. I had to take a big step back and say, I don't know anything here. Don't know anything about business. Don't know anything about running a successful business, how I should operate, how I should act. I need some help. And that was obviously when you stepped in the first time.
Yeah, the beginner's mind is so important.
Yeah.
Something that I try and teach. Anytime that you enter in anything with a coach, a mentor, somebody to help you improve, like you have to adopt a beginner's mind, like a curious beginner's mind. Like, I don't know nothing, like teach me everything. Yeah. I think it's that humility, and that you were like very much that way. I remember you just like very implementation focused. I was like, do this. You're like, okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Do this. Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
And I can remember just starting to kind of slowly spiral for you, and to the point at which I think, how long did it take you to get your own facility? Did you do outdoor for a good while?
Yeah, I did outdoor for like 6-8 months, I think. And then I was in a pub function room with sausage rolls on the floor for a little while. Like it was that bad. They didn't even clear it off the night before.
Yeah.
You know, and we did that for about 3 months. And then I found a factory unit, which was empty after that. So I think it was about maybe up to a year that I was sort of outdoor and semi-indoor.
Yep.
obviously we started in the outdoor in the winter when it was actually snowing and stuff, and managed to get
Yeah.
like 5-6 clients, which is pretty good for just starting off, you know.
Definitely.
And then moved in from there. Yeah, I think it was about a year, and then we got into the gym from then.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would have been, I opened New Era 2013. So it would have been about parallel, I'd say.
Yeah, I
We
think
were in a dusty, shitty warehouse at the time,
yeah.
in between the interim when we were waiting for that unit to be built.
Well, I remember one of the first things that you got me to do, which was terrifying at the time, but it was the catalyst, was you said, and I'm 99% sure this was you.
Yeah.
We're talking 10 years ago now, but you said, ring everyone in your phone book
Yeah.
and tell them what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I went from A to Z. I had about 280 names, and I just rang every one of them. Like people who hadn't heard from us in like 13 years or something. I was just like, hi, how are you doing? It's Luke Harrison. Like, oh, hi. I just wanted you to know that I'm starting this boot camp business, and just wondering if you knew anybody who wanted to get in shape, you know? And that's how I got my first like 5 clients. Just from literally, I had to leave loads of voice messages because loads of people didn't answer. But those who did were like, what? Yeah, but that was the catalyst. That was the start.
Well, yeah, and imagine now, like if you were to start your business nowadays, like you could just go on WhatsApp and voice note.
Yeah.
And like it'd be so much easier.
Oh, yeah.
People are still unwilling to do that. And I think if you're in a town and you know people and you're starting a business, you're growing it, there's nothing wrong with doing old school stuff. Everyone's like Facebook ads, Instagram, create content. But like your first 20 clients probably come from people that you know, people that know somebody that you know.
Absolutely.
And I think I often think back, like obviously I've been coaching now for like 10 years, been coaching business, like the stuff that I forgot that I used to do, like that'd be one of them.
Yeah.
Number 2, there are things that you just go out of your mind completely. I used to run like in-person seminars, and I think first in-person seminar I ever ran was like maybe 2011. You know, I was like hiring out bars in the middle of Liverpool city centre and inviting people down and doing charity events and speaking and selling from stage. And I think like that's kind of gone. Like it's so easy today. You just run an ad, you get a lead, you make a sale over the phone, you turn up. But like it was really fucking hard to get to 100 clients back then.
Oh yeah.
Really hard because everything was manual. Everything was hustle based.
Yeah, definitely.
Today, like getting to 100 clients is like, it's a baseline. It's standard. Like for our clients, some of them, chatting to one yesterday, she's like 550 members, nearly 600 members. Like that would just not be possible without today's technology.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Like even email marketing platforms, landing pages were fucking hard to build 10 years ago. Hard, like WordPress, like learning code, buying themes and doing stuff. Like it was really like the barrier to entry today is like lower than it's ever been, easier than it's ever been. I mean, the fact that I'm able to come here and have this podcast produced is easier than it's ever been. Like access to all of this equipment and the technology and the stuff around it. For me to try and do that on my own, you asked me the question, would I ever do it myself? I'm like, no, not anymore. I've got everything that I need.
Yeah.
Everything that I need to do it, and I wouldn't. But I just think today, like there's so much opportunity that people forget. Like people are looking at the cost of living, they're looking at inflation, they're looking at like how we've been over the last few years with COVID, but like there's still the opportunity because the barrier to entry is so low. To make money is so easy now.
Yeah.
And compared to what it'd be.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward, bring a present moment. Where are you at now with things? Like you've obviously just handed me a book before.
Mm-hmm.
Second book, which is amazing. Like it's amazing for me. Like I think you said the last time we seen each other was like 8 years ago.
I think it was, yeah.
We've been in periodic communication online, obviously seeing what each other have been doing over the last 10 years, but it's been amazing for me as like an observer to be like, look, like this guy, like it was a plumber. I like didn't really, there's one thing I need to figure out. Were you the tail end of Fitness Camp Academy? Had we like closed that?
No, still there. That was
with everyone?
Yeah. I think I was one of the last ones in.
Yeah. So I think that's what I think. Paul and I had that. Paul had a mini meltdown. I decided I was closing that. I was going to open New Era. That's right. And then I helped you and you took on Fitness Camp Academy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like you were one of the first people I think independent of that maybe I mentored. And that was like a real catalyst for me because 2013, I launched my official like mentoring program, and
Yeah.
it's been like nearly 10 years doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But just seeing at the time, I was like, yeah, this is the stuff that I do. I didn't really have a structure. We'd have a weekly phone call. I'm like, go and do this, go and do that.
Yeah.
But then since then, you've gone on, you've helped hundreds of people, you've wrote 2 books, you've spoke on stage, you've done seminars, you've cleaned up your lifestyle, cleaned up your life, got out of relationships, pursuing your dreams. And it's just amazing for me to like, I'll just say that to you, like it's amazing as an observer on the outside in.
Yeah.
Just
Thanks,
seeing
man.
the growth.
Yeah. Well, you were the catalyst for that, being around the right people. That's the thing. And that, like, if we rewind time 10 years ago, I would have never, ever even imagined, I'll write 2 books, I'll speak in front of over 100 people. I'll have this successful gym business. I'll have a great following online. I'll be respected and asked onto podcasts and stuff. I'll have opportunities with radio and whatnot. I never would have thought of that, but it's just the element that how a lot of people look at it and think it's like, they might be like, oh, wow, it's amazing that you've got this. But like a lot of people don't see the relentless consistency that goes on within the past decade, as you well know, to build this profile, this lifestyle, this business, this foundation of what you've got now. It's that day in, day out, not just work ethic, but the thought process of day in, day out. How can I get better? How can I grow? How can I improve? What can I do now? What's next? Not getting too comfortable as well. That's a big one. Like getting to a certain level and think, I'll just coast along this. You're either getting better or you're getting worse, right? Mm-hmm. It's like the whole myth of a plateau. I'm just coasting. You're not. You're slowly getting worse. Yep. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. So for me, actually, a lot of the stress was not down to what it took to build it, but the mindset behind it, like the consistent graft. What's next? Right? What do I need to do today? I think that goes overlooked when people want to start a business, when people want to get ahead in life. They don't realize like this is a combination of a decade's worth of daily graft.
Yeah.
So
1,000%.
Yeah.
I think there is a huge underestimation of what it takes to transition from employee to employer.
Yes.
Or like from employee to operator.
Yeah.
Because, and I have this now, some of the students that I work with, they kind of toe in, toe out, the half in an employed role. They're trying to build a business on the side.
Yeah.
They're trying to build an online business whilst being employed. And they're almost like looking to me for like what do I do today? Like, tell me what I need to do. And I'm like, dude, like at a certain point, you have the tools and you have to have self-motivation, self-drive, self-targets, self-commitment to do stuff, because there's going to be a day when nobody actually tells you what to do anymore. And you have to be in a place where you are generating energy, drive, motivation, driving your business forward without somebody being like, you should do this, you need to do that, you need to do the other.
Yeah.
And it's about being accountable to self. And that's the transition. Like it's more of a mentality of employee to operator. Yeah. It's huge.
Yeah. That's a massive step, because for me, when I started, it was a matter of do my day. You were coaching us at this point. I was still a plumber. So I was actually doing my boot camps on the morning, 6 o'clock. I would go home, get a quick shower, go to work for being a plumber for 8 hours, work 8 o'clock till 4, then coach again 6 o'clock in the night, come home, then study, have a call with you or whatever, write out programs, learn a bit until 10 o'clock at night, and I'd go and repeat that the next day. Like that would be the relentless drive that I had to do in order to make that transition. So but there obviously had to be a time where I was like, I need to put a date on this of I need to leave by this point, or what, I've got to step out of this zone of comfort of trying to do both and step into it. But again, people don't realize that sometimes you have to work before your day job, after your day job, during your day job, until you can get at that point where you transition.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like it's today's world, like because of things like Facebook ads, because of technology, because of popularized like content, and to a degree, people like myself, we have a massive responsibility of actually teaching the work behind the results. I think sometimes we're just in this world where we're like, oh, you're going to make like 10 grand a month or 6 figures a year, because we're exposed to that a lot, which is amazing in many ways. But equally, the work is ignored. I'm off to see my friend Paddy fight in the UFC tomorrow. He's blown up in like unbelievable ways. I've been training with him for like 7 or 8 years. seeing the daily grind that he's put in for 7 or 8 years, and now he's blowing up, and people are just thinking like it's a thing that's just happening.
Yeah.
No, like this has been a vision for so long, and to see from the outside in, to see that and to watch it and to see the highs, the lows, the pain, the struggle, the commitment, the dedication. Like he's been fighting since he was like 15.
Yeah.
There's never been anything else in his life. That's it. Like this was it. Like this is my life.
Yeah.
I am going to fight in the UFC professionally.
Yeah.
That's it. People want the success, but they don't acknowledge the growth.
Yes.
And I think that's a huge responsibility for more successful people to be like, no, like you can have what you want, but ultimately there is sacrifice.
Yeah. It's kind of like seeing the before and after, but at the same time, like I wrote a post about this earlier about body transformations don't last, mind transformations do.
Yep.
Once there's nothing stronger than a made up mind, right? Mm-hmm. Nothing stronger. Like you've just said there, Paddy had that idea that I've made my mind up, I'm going to fight in the UFC. Like that is the strongest fucking force in the universe, the made up mind. Nothing else, the made up mind. But a lot of the people, again, we judge based on what we see, not what we know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's like, oh, well, if I do this, then I'll get there. But then they don't realize, again, the relentless consistency, the discipline, the work ethic, rather than where do I want to be in the next 6 months? Well, where do you want to be in the next 6 years? Where do you want to be in the next 20 years? People don't think that far ahead.
Or even a bigger question, who do you want to be?
Yeah.
Who do you want to become?
Yeah. Who do you want to become?
Because like the destination's evolving anyway.
Yeah.
So like you'll get to somewhere and there'll always be a what's next.
Yeah.
Instead of like, who do I want to show up? Like what values do I want to instill? What do I want to generate? What resilience? What do I want to cultivate energetically inside of myself? Like, who do I want to be known as? Like character is all that we have. Like we'll be judged by our character for our entire lives.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the old adage, the goal is not going to make you happy until you become in the process, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. People think the body's going to make them happy. It's not. It's the disciplines and the consistent habits and the element of the change of identity that you've brought on because of achieving that body. I'd love to earn that amount of money. I'd love to be in that style of business. Well, that's not the thing that's going to make you happy. If you woke up tomorrow and you'd lost 2 stone, which was your ultimate goal for the past 5 years, it wouldn't make you happy. You'd get that momentary rush. Oh my God, oh, look at me. Oh, wow. But you would go straight back to it because you hadn't developed the disciplines. You hadn't developed the character. You hadn't developed the consistency of the habitual processes that you would have to do to get there, right? Again, that's your character, isn't it? That's your
identity.
Given
the gift without the grit.
Yeah.
Like it's character cultivation. That's the thing. I think, I don't know if you know this, I lost like 60 pounds.
Wow.
Over the last 2 years, which is crazy.
Wow.
Mad. And I just got out of shape. Business, work, life. A little bit like apathetical with my training. I was doing jiu-jitsu, but I wasn't really doing anything outside of that.
Yeah.
Probably drinking a little bit too much, eating whatever the hell I wanted.
Yeah.
And like my physical transformation is a byproduct of my inner growth. And I think that's something that people don't realize. Like what you achieve on the outside is a massive reflection of where you're at on the inside.
Oh, 100%.
Your physical appearance is a huge, huge indicator of your mental stability.
Yeah.
Situation.
Absolutely. And it's people's obsession with falling in love with the outcome and the prize rather than falling in love with the process of it. Understanding that even if it's painful, even if it sucks, even if you don't feel anything happening, it's not to say it's not working. If you're still doing the work, if you're still in the process and you're on your way, you're not in your way. You know, that's again, a lot of the problem would just cause of filters and Facebook and the magic of people making things look easy now. People fall in love with that, don't they? They see somebody making something look easy and think, "Ooh, wonder if I can do that in the next few weeks."
And even like the falling in love with the process, even that in itself can be a limitation because people are like, I should be enjoying this, but sometimes you don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you've got to get up with fucking 3 hours sleep and do shit that you don't want to do. Sometimes you've got to stay up late and do shit that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes you've got to do things before work, after work, sacrifice certain things. Sometimes you've got to fucking go out with friends and not have a drink. Sometimes you've got to go out with friends and choose a salad instead of a burger. Sometimes like there are so many discomforts, so many painful things, so many uncomfortable things about the process that it's hard to sometimes love the process.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you've got to love the person you're becoming because of the process.
Yeah. One of the earliest bits of advice that I heard was, if you do what's easy, your life will be hard. Do what's hard and your life will be easy. And it's so simple, but yet people can't grasp that. Well, if I can do it an easier way, I'll do it an easier way. But that might get you to a certain level of feeling that you might desire in the moment, but that's not going to help you become the person you want to become to get what you ultimately want to achieve.
Yeah, and there's like I guess there's a piece of that people have to realize, like, choose your hard, like choose
your hard, yeah.
Choose what you want. You know, relationships are difficult, so breakups. Getting in shape is hard, but so is being out of shape.
Yeah.
Building a successful business is fucking painstakingly excruciating, fucking difficult, and it's full of highs and lows. But equally, so is doing a job that you fucking hate.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, I don't think there's a place of comfort. I don't think there's a place of ease. I think, frankly, there is a little element of sadism of growth in the fact that you do have to seek out pain. Like, I'm in a little process myself right now where, like, my jiu-jitsu training, I'm at a level where I have to seek out the more difficult rounds with people.
Yeah.
I have to seek out the most uncomfortable ones. I have to seek out the most difficult and challenging people on the mats, because equally, as you get better at something, things become easier.
Yeah.
And if you don't adjust and adapt and seek out the next thing,
yeah,
then you get to a place of coasting and equally shrinking.
Yeah.
Well, they say, good times create weak men. Weak men create bad times. Bad times create strong men. Strong men create good times.
There we go. Yeah, I like
it's
that.
Like a cycle.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm at a place that with me weightlifting right now. I've been weightlifting years, but it's getting to the point where certain things are getting easy, you know, so I have to seek out that next challenge. I have to ask for that next bit that I don't necessarily want to get involved with because I know it's going to fucking suck, but it's the only thing that's going to push us to the next level.
Yep.
The only thing. It's how's the best to phrase this? I think it's just seeking out what's hard. I think that's hard for the brain to get a hand. Like, why would you seek out hard when everything's so convenient now? And life can be easy, and life can be a one-click process. Life can be such an easy, convenient stroll, but an easy, convenient stroll doesn't get you halfway toward what you want.
Well, like, there's so many like cliche type phrases, but like, seek out what's hard, or what's hard will seek you out. Like, seek out discomfort, or discomfort will seek you out. There's like so many things that if you don't search for, it will find you anyway. Like, go to darkness because darkness will find you. I'm going to start CrossFit, not because I think it's the best training program in the world, but I think it's going to put me in a place where I'll be physically uncomfortable
and sick.
Yeah. Yeah. Like a point at which, like, I will train to exhaustion.
Yeah.
I think personally, when you get to that place, that is when you start to really understand, like, what is my mindset? What is my psychology?
Yeah.
Like, what is my mentality? That's what jiu-jitsu did for me in the early days. Like, when I'm in a place of pressure and discomfort, and like somebody's like sweaty and pressing on me, and like my jaw is getting pushed into the floor, I can barely move, my neck's cranking, like I can't breathe, I'm going to throw up with exhaustion. That's when the inner dialogue comes in. Because like, it's very easy, like, someone can give up like that. Like, if I roll with a white belt, I could make them give up just from pressure alone.
Yeah.
But that's when your inner talk has to come, and you've got to be like, okay, like, breathe, relax, settle. This is okay. Everything's going to be fine. You're not going to die. Like, what's the next move?
Yeah.
You've got to just take that fine, like, be comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Yeah. It's good that you're saying that, because it's like almost, you know, you're understanding now that with the element of jiu-jitsu, for example, you're in a place of flow and not force. At first, you're forcing not to give up. You're forcing to not say, no, this is enough. Or you get into moves and you're pushing yourself and you're tight and you're rigid. Whereas now it'll be a flow motion. You'll control your breath. Totally. You'll control your movement. Now, I don't study jiu-jitsu, but I understand the concept of it's much easier when you relax, much when into things.
1,000%.
When anybody gets into anything new, you're going to be stiff. You're going to be tight. You're going to be sore. You're going to be rigid. You're going to be wanting to do it a certain way, you're going to be scared, you're going to be fearful, you're going to be everything. But you'll have to, it'll feel like forceful at the beginning, starting anything new. And you feel like you have to force yourself to get out of bed early, to go to training. You have to force yourself to drink more water. You have to force yourself to make a phone call. But the more that you do it, the more that you'll realize it's about flow.
Yeah.
And flow is so much easier.
Totally.
But it only comes with time. And most people's ego won't allow them to have that time.
There's two things as well. Force versus power, right? Force is like trying to make something happen.
Yeah.
Power is understanding that it will happen when you're in alignment with it.
Yes.
And like, I have this concept I teach clients and I speak about all the time, like dirty fuel versus clean fuel. Like your motivation for doing something and the way in which you generate energy to do something can either be like dirty or clean. And like, I think when I look at white belts and brand new people in jiu-jitsu, like it is like their body is just jacked, like their nervous system's on fire. It's fight or flight. And like, you can see that this, and then they're just against somebody who's like a professional. Like they're just, been doing it a long time. They're so relaxed and chilled and they're just burning all of their energy, every little piece of energy. And like they're fighting for survival. Yeah. Where the other person's just like comfortable with that discomfort and like, it's like just easy, like technique and flow. Yeah. And just relaxed. Like somebody can be like, I'm going to die. And the other person just be like, chill. Yeah. And it just shows that with time, anybody can cultivate that in any part of their life. Intimacy. Men are not great with intimacy. Intimacy is not just sex. Intimacy is like, can you be in a space with somebody and have a difficult conversation? Can you look someone in the eyes? Can you be half a meter away from somebody and tell them what you're feeling? Can you express your fears? Can you express your concerns? Can you express what's inside of you, even if you know that it's potentially going to bring you into disdain with the other person? Yeah. Like that is intimacy, and people are uncomfortable doing that. But the more that you do it, the better you get. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people admire when things seem seamless. Like we all admire that when we see the athlete, or we see the singer, or we see the businessman or the speaker or whoever, and we see them make things look so seamless, and we're like, I'd love to be able to do that. And sometimes people think that they make it look easy. That's a phrase that people say, and you make it look so easy. But again, it's the 10,000, 20,000 hours that went in beforehand, so which they would have to go through to get that. Like you use the idea of jiu-jitsu. I've just started professional wrestling, the sports entertainment type. Now, a lot of people judge that, but I love it. But when I'm starting, I'm rigid, I'm stiff, I'm hurting myself. The guy I've been doing it with done it 17 years. So he's showing us things and I'm like, God. And he's like, relax. You have to relax, because the more rigid you are, the more you're going to hurt yourself. Now, that's easier said than done when you're starting off and you're trying to make things look good. And like anything, you try your body and brain on connecting and all that stuff. But we see things online which are so seamless, but we only see the end product of 10 years of graft, 5 years of graft, 15 years of graft, whatever it may be. And that again, I think that's wavering in these modern times, is that grit and that work ethic. We've touched on it a few times already, but that's hard to instill in people now, because it's such a convenient world, isn't it? We've got the one-clicks, we've got the drive-throughs, we've got such a convenient lifestyle. People don't need to work hard as what we did after a decade ago, 2 decades ago, whatever, to get a result now. So there's almost this kind of sense of entitlement sometimes. So that's hard to break a cycle of. Definitely. Where people want to do something, they'll give it a go, but then when we understand what's required, like we haven't worked together as such on a professional level for 10 years, but within that gap, the work that's been going on has been phenomenal. But people don't see that. They just see us having a conversation today, and the accolades that come in with that, and the successes that have seen that. So I find that quite fascinating, how it's a different mindset today, and I think that comes again with society and culture. Yeah. And I think things are getting easier in terms of the world and technology and stuff, but I would say they're no easier in terms of getting what you want. Yeah, and I think a huge thing which aligns with that is that we're just in an overwhelming world as well. Like we're not in a place of like, it's not even just what do I do to get better, or I don't understand the work involved. It is that there are so many things going on. I don't know which direction to go.
Absolutely.
And so that requires a level of discipline in and of itself. Like fucking hell, there's so many books you can read, so many podcasts you could listen to, so many courses you could buy, so many mentors you could go to, so many YouTube videos you could watch. There is an abundance of information. That's, we're starving for wisdom.
Yes.
We're overwhelmed with information.
Yeah.
Wisdom is the deciphering of like, what is it that I actually need in this moment? What is okay to say no to right now? Yeah. What can I step back from? What can I say no to allow yes to come through?
Yeah, absolutely.
What do I specifically say yes to? Because a yes can be a big direction shift in the wrong way. Mm-hmm. You could hire the wrong person. You could listen to the wrong stuff. You could put a lot of energy into the wrong area, and that could hinder instead of help. And I think that's something that we've got to develop in our modern day now that we didn't have to do before, which is like information selection.
Yes.
It's the ability to be like objective and step out of where you're at and go, okay, what in this moment, what do I actually need?
Yeah.
What's serving me right now? What's not? What support do I need? What do I want to get better at? Like what you're saying, when we see people in flow, like a Roger Federer serve, like a Tiger Woods in his prime.
Yeah.
Like the ability of a Floyd Mayweather, like the athletes that we see, a Messi, a Ronaldo, like just the effortlessness of it. And where those people are like they're competing against people who are in like the top 0.1% of the world and still looking head and shoulders above everyone else.
Yeah.
Like, how does that happen?
Yeah.
I get comments on my speaking a lot. Like, oh, it's so easy for you to communicate. Like, how do you do it?
Yeah.
10 years of being bad at it.
Repetition.
Sucking for so long. Public speaking was my like biggest fear, number one fear, beyond everything.
Yeah.
I remember doing presentations at uni and just fucking hating every second. Now it's the thing that lights me up the most.
Yeah, I agree. It's very much the same for me. Again, but repetition. People ask me about speaking because I've done loads of stage gigs, Facebook Live, so regularly, very seamless. I've done over 1,000 live Facebook videos over and over, and I can speak live without any mistakes, more or less. One here and there, but what people don't realize is that for the past decade, every morning I coach my guys 4 mornings a week. Mm-hmm. I do a motivational speech for 90 seconds every single morning, 4 mornings a week. And I've done that for the last 10 years.
Yep.
So that, just those 90-second bits, because I've practiced speaking in front of people over and over and over and over again, several times a week for 10 years, that's how it makes it look seamless.
Yeah. How do you get better? You do it more often.
You do it more. Yeah, you do it more.
Seek it out.
Yeah.
You're not going to be a great communicator when you first start. I tell all my clients now, do daily reels, like do a 60-second video every single day. Why? Yeah. 1, it gets you to distill your ideas in a very short and brief way. 2, the act of speaking every day will be good. Number 3, you'll realize what's good and what's not. You sometimes need a barometer of what is actually good and what needs adjusting.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a skill that if you're a modern business owner, entrepreneur, any business on this planet watching this right now, I don't give a fuck if you're a fucking lash girl or you're a brow girl or you're a fucking brow guy or a lash guy or you do tattoos or you do something. Your business will benefit from your personality.
Absolutely.
1,000%.
People
what
buy
separate,
people, right?
Yeah, what separates you from your competition? You as the individual.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that there isn't a competitor that has a competitive product or service to you at a similar price. The thing that separates you is your ability to communicate what you do and build a relationship and bond with your clients. That might look like fun videos. That might look like little things that you do with clients. That might look like teaching.
Yeah.
Any business that has a service has potential objections. You've got to teach away objections. Like, there's just not a business on the planet that wouldn't benefit from the individual being a fucking influencer of some description in their market.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're somebody's who, right? In some, even if you think, oh, well, other people do, because there's a lot of self-doubt. There's a lot of people thinking, well, they do it better. But you are somebody's who. You're probably a lot of people's who. Yep. This is what we don't put enough time and attention into building myself and putting myself out there. It's a harsh thing. Now, when I started my business, I think I might have started it once I was working with you, actually, or it might have been just after. I made the pact of doing 1,000 Facebook Lives consecutively. I think I missed 2 days for grief, but that was it. I did 1,000 days of Facebook Lives. Like this was been 9 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
So I started, and
3 years.
I labeled every one of them. And for that, every single day, 7 days a week, I did a Facebook Live.
What happened after 1,000?
I think I went to like 1,000. I think I went to about 1,050, and then I just kind of stopped labeling them, and they went a little bit less frequent. I still do them now. I just don't do them all the time. I do a little bit more professional videos and reels and things like that. But I still maintain to this day, because 10 years later, I still run a successful business, that the consistency of the repetition of me showing up has contributed to my success now.
Yeah.
And helped me stay in business well over 5 years, where if the statistics are 80% of businesses fail in the first 5 years, I believe something like that. I don't know the exact statistic, but the majority fail in the first 3 to 5 years. So to keep going for 10 years is consistency, effort. Those, again, that was not just telling people about me, getting people to buy into me, my philosophy, my beliefs, my personality, but also showing the consistency of giving a shit. Because I think that's missing as well. People will show up when they feel like it, whereas you have to show up regardless of how you feel.
In spite of,
all the time. And that's inspiring. Even if people don't agree with your message or agree with you, they can't help but admire that consistency. And that's the reward sometimes, is just the consistency. Actually developing that habit of saying, I can do this. Consistency. Because it's, people admire the intensity that we see online. The passion and intensity are infectious. People want to do things hard and fast like other people, especially true in the athletic field. We say it all the time. So we think we have to train hard and fast and intense to get a result, when what if you could show up just every day for a walk for the next month? Like if you're out of shape, for example, what if you could just actually go to the gym and do something once a day for the next 6 months, regardless of what that was, even if it was fucking 5 minutes, just to develop that habit of actually doing something. Or if it was a business related issue, what if you could just do one post every day, one little reel every day for the next 3 months? What might happen? But this is people, it's just like, I'll do it today, not feeling it today. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll start on Monday. Flaky. It never works, right? And never works long term. It has to be consistent. It doesn't have to be every single day for 1,000 days like I did, but there has to be a level of consistency which is congruent to ingraining that in your character. So now, like, video and putting myself out there is just what I do. Just part of, just like you, it's just what you do. You've got no problem doing it. A lot of people do it first, but that's a lot of the thing that's holding them back, isn't it? Because they're not willing to put themselves out there, because it's people's opinions, it's scrutiny. But if they just do it, it's going to get a fuck ton easier, right?
it's actually the thinking about it's worse than the doing of it.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, you get through a period of time where people give you shit online, but man, just block those people. Like,
yes,
they aren't going to make a difference to your life ultimately.
Yeah.
I understand the cyberbullying thing is real, and I've had my fair share of
absolutely
psychos over the years, like commenting on stuff, but ultimately, like, your mission, your vision, your impact desires and goals have to supersede your fears.
Yeah.
And like, I've changed my opinion on consistency recently, because I probably in the past was more of like an all in or all out kind of person.
Yeah.
That reflected in my physical body, for sure.
Yeah.
When I was in shape, I was on track, I was doing it, I was good.
Yeah.
When I wasn't, I wasn't.
Yeah.
And that's how most people are. Right?
Yeah, all or nothing
They
people.
like start on a Monday, they quit on a Thursday, they start on a Monday, they quit on a Thursday, they start on a Monday, quit on a Thursday, they fuck off for 2 weeks, they get back to it. And they're always on the 6-week thing. The thing that changed my physical appearance was going from I'm going to get in shape over the next 4-6 weeks to this is what I do.
Yeah.
And making some commitments that are lesser than you think you need to do, but more consistent.
Yeah.
So like, if you go like, right, that's it, Monday I'm starting the gym and I'm going 5 days a week and I'm going to fucking kill it and da-da-da-da. Like, that's setting yourself up to failure. Like, if you are doing 0 right now and you say, I'm committing to 5 days a week, setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
What if you were to say, I'm going to train 2 times a week? That's it.
Yeah.
And there's no for how many weeks? I'm going to train 2 times a week.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do it. And I'm going to train on a Tuesday and Thursday, and that's it.
Yeah.
Because naturally what will happen is like, you know what? I feel like going to the gym today. I feel like doing a little bit more. I feel like doing a bit extra.
Yeah, absolutely. And at first it'll feel forced. At first it'll feel like you have to do it. You should do it. but it wants to get to the place where you want to do it. You get to do it. That's when things change. When you're like, you know what, I want to go to the gym today. Or even if not, hey, I get to, because a lot of people cannot move their body. A lot of people are in wheelchairs. A lot of people can't get out of bed, but I'm here doing it. I might not be doing much, but I'm fucking doing it.
I think about this physical pain, and like as you get older, if your body is like broken and physical pain, you're constantly in pain. I've been in pain before with I struggled with inflammation for a period of time, and sometimes I do still. If I have like a couple of drinks or whatever, like I'll get a big flare up, almost like gout-like symptoms.
Right.
And it's fucking miserable, man.
Yeah.
Like when you have that for a day or two, it's miserable. Like your feet are fucking killing. And I just think, if that was my life every day, man, like you're at a disadvantage before you even get started. Like if you're tired when you wake up and you're exhausted every day and you can't seem to generate energy, you can't be energetic, like life is going to be hard.
Yeah.
Very hard. And I think there are just simple choices and simple changes and simple shifts that you can make that will allow for more growth. I think, like I was saying with overwhelm, it's a massive distraction life we live in now. Like social media is a life admin. It's an admin that we have that we never had before.
Yeah.
Like think of all the time that we devote to it. I just bought a Kindle, and two reasons really. I've got 500 books that are in storage right now that I don't know what the fuck to do with, that I don't want to let go of because they're like prized possessions, but equally I don't want to be carting them around for the rest of my life. They're like big things from B&Q, big boxes full of them.
Yeah.
Every time I get a new office or I've got to drag them around, and I want to get rid of them. Secondly, I was like putting 2-3 books in my bag every day, and that's a pain in the ass in and of itself. Thirdly, I'm like, okay, like there are times I sit in a coffee shop and I will go on my phone because I'm a normal human being. What if I just reached for the other bit of technology that's actually going to benefit me?
Yeah.
And so just pick up the Kindle and read a few pages.
Yeah. That's good.
And that's like, it's just a simple shift.
Yeah.
It's part of like the habit loop, right? We get an urge to do something, like even if it's to be distracted, right? We want to be distracted. Maybe we don't want to sit in our own presence and think about the stuff in our lives. Maybe we do want to be distracted. Choose a different distraction that's actually beneficial.
Yeah.
You'll get a different outcome.
Yeah. One of my philosophies in life, it's nothing new, but movement is medicine, and health is wealth. Two things that I keep repeating to myself every day. I repeat to my clients, well, movement is medicine, but it's not doesn't just mean movement as in moving the body. Yes, that's a catalyst for so many things, and you should do it every day. But it's movement in any way, like progress and growth. If we seek out movement, like moving the needle of life, like you say, like grabbing a book instead of just scrolling, it's not really moving your life forward. It's providing you with a temporary sedation. It's providing you with a bit of a dopamine fix, a little bit of momentary excitement or distraction, but it's not really moving your needle of life.
It actually makes it worse. It brings you in a comparison mindset.
Yeah, often it does. It does. It serves its purpose, but it's usually, it degrades your quality of life rather than improve it. It doesn't help you grow and progress. It doesn't help you move.
False connections.
Yeah. So a lot of people are chasing that happiness, and they think that happiness lies in their phone. Happiness lies in being connected to other people socially, which often it just disconnects us. That's one of the things. But if movement is medicine in terms of that, to me, that is the movement of life, moving forward, growth, progress. That's why a lot of us are unhappy, because we're just chasing happiness in forms of quick fixes, in forms of food and drink and social media sedation, for example, rather than chasing that forward movement of the needle, like pushing forward daily, that little things like changing the Kindle, going for the water instead of the pop, or the coffee, going for a walk instead of sitting on your ass in front of Netflix, example.
Like, and talk about intimacy again. People would prefer to have sex than be intimate.
Yes.
But like, it's weird, right? Like, because we can connect through sex, but equally, like, we can deepen our connection through vulnerability. And I think there are again, it's like the pleasure seeking versus the discomfort, right? The discomfort of having a hard, deep, difficult conversation that ultimately, like, is the weight of something that might be sitting between two people.
Yeah,
is hard. Having sex is easy.
Yeah.
So we've got to really. And fucking hell, we can go as deep as we want. Sometimes you got to have a laugh. Sometimes you got to fucking cut free and break rules and do whatever. Equally, like if something's causing us pain in our lives, we've got to go towards it. Yeah. We have to go towards it. And I do think it just comes down to like instilling beliefs, like having that mentality of like, it's an incantation. Like it's a, what do you call it? A fucking what's that word? Where people repeat something over and over again. A mantra, like a
mantra? Is that
yeah,
right?
like a mantra. There's a different word that'll come to me.
Okay.
But you've got like a daily belief where it's like so ingrained in you. Fucking affirmations. That's it. It's like an affirmation at a level that's like it's ingrained in your body, in your nervous system. Like movement is medicine.
Yeah.
Like an object in motion tends to stay in motion.
Yeah. It's easier to keep up than catch up.
Exactly. It is easy. Like, have you ever noticed how easy it is to get out of shape?
Yeah.
Like fucking easy, right? How
Absolutely.
hard it is to get back in shape.
Yeah.
Fucking hard.
Yeah.
It's easier to stay in shape than it is to get out of shape and get back in
Yeah,
shape.
absolutely. And most people live their lives that way. In shape, out of shape, in shape, out of
Well,
shape.
no, out of shape, in worse shape, out of shape, in worse shape, out of shape, in worse shape.
Yeah, I stand corrected. You're right. Yeah.
And like, that's the unfortunate truth. It really is.
Yeah.
Most people are not in physical shape. If there was real shit going down, most people would just roll over and die.
Yeah.
If real shit went down, most people would not be able to handle it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I got on the front page of the newspaper for saying that. But that people should be able to run for their fucking lives if they needed to. And some people couldn't.
Nope.
If you're fat as fuck and something happened where you had to fucking run for your life, and I mean fucking get out of the way fast, a lot of people couldn't do it. And that's a sad fact. It's a sad fact. It's not a dig. It's just an actual observation. It's observation that your physical body can save your fucking life.
Well,
not just physically to do stuff, but actually from a health perspective,
dude,
as well. Like diabetes, cancer, heart attack, stroke, fucking high blood sugar. All this stuff is fucking on the table.
Disease.
Exactly. It's created. It's fucking self-created.
Yeah.
Which is mad. Like they reckon 70% of cancers can be prevented. Obviously, there's exceptions to rule like childhood cancer, etc., stuff like that. But 70% scientists and doctors reckon can be prevented. That's a fucking huge. That's not like 12% or something.
No.
That's fucking enormous.
And it comes down to long-term thinking versus short-term thinking.
Yes. And pleasure seeking versus progress seeking, right?
Yeah. Prioritize long-term progress over short-term pleasure.
Yeah.
And distraction. But isn't it mental? Like epigenetics, right? Epigenetics, I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Not too much.
It's basically our genes will express based on our environment.
Right.
All right. So we could be born with a gene that carries a disease, but it will express itself in the way in which the environment it is in.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
And it's fucking something that people ignore. Most people, right? So this is like, let's get deep. Most people believe in fate. Right, in the way of like, you know, if I get cancer, that's just fucking life's way of doing it, right?
Yeah.
But equally, they don't have faith that if they choose a different path, they can choose a different outcome.
Yes. Well, I was at a seminar the other day, and the guy was talking about statistics, and they reckon that about 96% live in fear, mostly, and about 4% actually live in constant faith and belief. Like, and I would probably agree with those stats. I don't know. It's like they say 97% of people who set New Year's resolutions fail, which is about right.
The majority.
Yeah, the majority, basically. The absolute majority. You're talking like, 96, 97% is huge. And most people, again, will feel like, well, it's just the way it's meant to be. And that there is no fate but what we create for ourselves. That's a line from Terminator 2, actually.
There we go.
But it's fucking true. It's fucking true in so many ways.
You know, the beauty of fear and faith, it's the same skill to create. They're both imaginary. They both don't exist. They're both fictionary.
Yes.
Fear is fiction. Faith is fiction. And it's a perception and it's a choice. Are you generating the faith or are you engaging in fear?
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you do much meditation, but if you spend 20, 30 minutes with your eyes closed, you'll be very clear on what is in your mindset.
Yeah.
I went for a float tank the other day. There's a place in Liverpool. I go pretty regular. I actually go probably once or twice a month and I haven't done for like 2 months. I was like feeling really overwhelmed, really low energy, really tired. And I was like, I'm going to go check in for a float. Went and I was lying there. I was like, whoa, like, so much stuff in my mind right now. Like when you remove everything else, when you're left with self and thought, and you generate awareness of like what is actually going on, it is no fucking surprise that you have no energy every day. because your brain is just overloaded with thoughts. Your mind is just bogged down with negative, fear-based, so many things that are holding you back. But people never stop to actually understand that. Like, all this is happening behind the scenes, unconsciously, driving their every decision. They're in a physiological state of fear every single day. Like, how can you ever attract abundance into your life whilst you're in alignment with a frequency of fear?
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah, 100%.
You're in survival.
Yeah.
Survival is not a time to create.
Absolutely. It's like the whole sleep when I'm dead attitude, you know, the whole work, gotta go, not having that time to slow down, not having that time to journal, reflect, do a little meditation, do a float tank. I used to do float tanks weekly years pre-COVID now. I used to love them. I need to get back to them, to be fair. Very, very eye-opening, and I mean that eye-opening, you know, just deep. It's very deep. But that's it. Again, that's just slowing everything down, isn't it? So you can get hyper-focused. So you can allow yourself space to be a bit more free. That's
Create space.
We're locked down on this whole go, being on the treadmill of life, you know, and it's almost like we wear it like a badge of honor, like I'm busy, badge of honor, busy, you know, and that's great. It's nice to be busy. I guess it's maybe better than being bored, but at the same time, do you know yourself? Do you have some sense of direction? Do you know who you want to become, where you want to go, what you want to achieve, what you want to do, all the rest? And people don't give themselves enough time to discover that, unfortunately.
At some point in time, everybody will have a dark night of the soul. At some point in time, something will crop up. At some point in time, I just observe a lot these days. I'm very curious, and I watch and I listen and I view, and I don't have all of the answers. I'm on my own journey. I'm figuring stuff out. I'm a student of life. I am a curious being. I've got a beginner's mindset. I know nothing. Like I'm in this game a long time, yet know nothing, and I'm constantly looking to be better. And I sometimes look at people and they speak in absolutes and they speak in certainties and they speak in ways that I think, you haven't had that crisis yet. Something hasn't shown up for you.
Yeah.
At one time in your life, something will come and slap you across the face and make you realize.
Yeah.
And I'm cool. Like, I'm cool with that. Like I I've had my fair share of that. You know, the last 2 years have been challenging for me personally. And it's forced me to look at things very differently to how I did before.
Yeah.
And the way in which I used to work, the way in which I was driven to work, the way in which I was operating was very, very draining. It was very demanding and very costly. Not financially, energetically.
Yeah, of course.
You know, separated from a wife. Like, that's a fucking hard thing to go through, to be a separated dad. I now have my kids on my own. I used to take working 12-hour days for granted. Now there are days where I pick my kids up 3 days a week.
Yeah.
At 3 o'clock. So I have to cut off work at like 2:30, 2 o'clock.
You very humbly say that about the whole curious nature as well. That's one thing I learned from my dad, actually. My dad, he's away traveling at the minute. He's got a camper van. He's traveling around Europe.
Amazing.
He's like in his 60s, living the life, right? And he's always been the most curious guy I've ever experienced. So anywhere he goes in the world, he'd be like, "How are you doing? I'm Jeff. What do you do?" You know, he'll talk to people like, people won't do that now. People are just on the phone.
Yeah.
And he'll always ask questions all the time, no matter what. So why are you doing that? All right. Oh, also, what do you find interesting about that? You know, how does that work then? Always curious, like just constantly curious. That's a thing I think that is not many people have that instilled. And I think that's obviously a massive positive trait he's given us, which again, if you ever, that is one of the traits that is going to keep you sane. Is just being curious, like wondering why, wondering if there's another way, wondering, okay, if how you can get better at this, you know, being curious about other people, why they reacted that way, why you overreacted, why it's said to be this way and it should be that way. That curious mindset is huge. For developing yourself. Huge. And if you're not curious and you're so fixed, prepare for more suffering.
Yeah.
Hugely prepare for that. So you're right in what you say, like that whole curious nature just helps you, it opens doors, doesn't it, to more perspectives in life and more of a, what's the way I can put this? More of a pleasant journey.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, if you're not curious, then you're convinced.
Yeah.
Right? That you already know everything that you need to know.
Yeah.
Right? Which is a fixed mindset, which is going to keep you trapped in the life that you have. You'll keep creating what you have.
Yes.
People want to create something new with the mindset that got them to where they're at.
Yes.
How do you ever expect to create something new in the future with the thinking that got you here?
Yeah.
Because this current thinking will just bring more of what you have.
Yeah. What's the phrase? You can't out goal set an unsuccessful mindset. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, well, for true. Like you have to be willing to create from a place that you do not know, because if you knew it, you'd have it.
Yeah.
So you have to get into a place of curiosity. Even the thing like anxiety, right? We get anxiety. Fucking hell. Anyone that says they don't get it is a liar. We experience an emotion and most of us want to push it away, distract ourselves, sedate. In other words, not feel it in some way, shape or form.
Yep.
The curious mind is the cure to that. It's like, aha, okay, anxiety, my friend, you are here. Like, why have you reared your ugly head today?
Yeah.
And it's just a different mentality. What is going on inside of me right now that's bringing this feeling and emotion?
Yeah.
The same way with like joy and happiness. Like most people actually don't know how to generate, what generates, what brings happiness in their life. Like if I was to ask you the question, what makes you truly happy? And some people don't actually know the question to that. So if you don't know, the answer to that question, if you don't know the answer to that question, then how can you generate that emotion? Because it's not a destination, it's not a state, it's not a fixed place. It's a fleeting emotion that will pass us by.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's something we can generate and create. So if you don't know what makes you happy, then how are you going to generate more happiness in your life?
Yeah, and on the subject of anxiety, like I was always told, is the emotion of growth. So, and again, you have to have a curious mind to be able to understand and deal with that, because most people would just want to shut it off, sedate it, ignore it, push it down, suppress it. Like, well, why is this here? What does this mean that I'm avoiding? What am I near to? Again, sometimes it can be excitement, just you're unfamiliar with how to deal with it.
Yeah, it's energy.
Yeah, it's like I'm about to step into something, but I'm worried. But if I did do it, then it would be amazing, but I can't quite do it. I'm so scared. I'm anxious. It's my anxiety. And we own the trait. We call it mine. And what's yours, you want to hold on to and you don't want to let go because it comes part of your identity. And if you're an anxious person, it gives you then reason and the ability to say no and avoid uncomfortable situations sometimes. And then people will say, I know you're an anxious person, so I haven't put you into this and I haven't pressed you for that. And you just keep comfortable.
It also gives you significance.
Exactly, yes.
Because that conversation of I know you're an anxious person means you're considering me.
Yeah.
You're thinking about me.
Yes, of course.
You're caring for me.
Mm-hmm. That's it, yeah.
There's also like, and I bumped into Matt's wife when we were in the coffee shop before. An amazing man. I must talk about Matt on my podcast every time to the time when I'm going to have to get him on the show. And he's like, sometimes an emotion doesn't need a story.
I like that.
Sometimes it's just there. It is.
Yeah.
Because what you have to understand is that there are points in our life and periods of our life where we experience stuff that we did not have language for. So if you're a baby or you're 2 years old or you're 3 years old and you're experiencing something that you don't have cognition around or words to label that experience, yet your nervous system feels it, your body feels it, you can experience that emotion later in life. And we can attach a story to the thing that isn't actually the original feeling that we experienced.
Yes.
So if we experience anxiety, it originated usually from somewhere else. And we think it's the environment right here, right now, but it's not. It's a deeper thing in our body that has been amplified by the moment.
Yep.
And so sometimes the feeling of anxiety is just something that our body has inside of us, and we've got to learn to let go of that.
Yeah.
And that's a process, and that's like trauma. And trauma isn't always something that people think is a traumatic, deep experience. It could just be something that created a significant moment in time in your life.
Yeah.
But again, like our body has a memory.
Yes, it does.
If you get on a bike, you don't think, I'm going to put my foot on the pedal, I'm going to put my hands on the handlebars, I'm going to start moving my feet. You don't think about that. Your body knows how to do the riding the bike. Equally, your body knows how to create the emotion. Your body experiences that. It's memory. Yeah. And that's why like labeling an emotion is not a helpful thing.
Yeah.
Or attaching a story to, I'm anxious because of this.
Yeah.
I'm anxious right now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay with that. Let me be with it.
Yeah. What you were talking about with the body remembering, someone was saying the other day actually is that you shouldn't often listen to music that you enjoy now, but you should listen to music that you enjoyed as a child or as a teenager, because your body remembers, your brain remembers that excitement, emotion, that thrill, that joy, that aura of being young. But like sometimes we won't indulge in activities as adults that we used to like as kids because we think we're past it. It's what we used to do. It's childish, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like I play board games, I play video games, I listen to Iron Maiden that I used to listen to in the 90s, you know, and I do that regularly because it makes me feel good. It's, again, I am generating and creating my own emotions. We all are at any given time.
Yep.
So again, that's a reminder sometimes that the body does remember, and it'll remember the good times as well as the bad, and it'll recall whatever we ask it to.
Yeah, by creating an environment that allows for that to be.
Exactly. Yes.
And like I say, there is a flip of everything. There is, you know, we experience emotions. I won't say negative, and I'm not going to say negative or positive. We experience things we might not want to feel in the moment.
Yes.
And we experience things we want to feel in the moment.
Yeah.
And this is about just understanding that emotion is part of being human. It is something that we will all experience. It's not about labeling it good and bad and this, that, and the other. But again, that curiosity is really key.
Yeah.
Just be like, where could this be coming from right now?
Yeah.
Like, what is it that this is bringing? We often don't have like there is no explanation. Sometimes we can wake up and have anxiety for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes there's no way to explain it.
Yeah.
It's just there. And the best thing you could do is not run away from it. It's to go to it. Create space for yourself to feel and move through that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you're aware of this, but grief is carried in the lungs. So we were talking about breath work before. When you do a lot of breath work, you can have a lot of emotional releases, big emotional releases, because you're moving through the lungs.
Yeah, makes sense.
And you know, we've got to create space in our lives for those things to be.
Yeah, absolutely. You talked about not labeling things positive and negative, which I think is awesome. It just is. But the majority of people will say, I'm having negative thoughts. I'm in a negative environment. I have a negative spouse. I hang around negative people. Well, a lot of our emotions are influenced by our environment. We talked about environment a little bit and who we hang around. And I think sometimes people just don't give themselves enough space from these quote unquote negative people, or these people who don't make them feel good, as they're so attached. It obviously gives them something by being part of this crew or bunch of people, but we become who we hang around, which is exactly comes back to the original point from when we very first started.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been running this business had I not been around people like you, people like Paul, people who are in the industry, who are more positively minded, shall we say, if we're going to label it, but more in line with where I want to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
People, this is the thing, right? Like, if you deem somebody that you're around all of the time negative and this, that, and the other, like, what is that person providing you in your life that you aren't even aware of?
Yeah.
This is where curiosity again is the thing, because like,
giving you something.
We affirm how we feel with external circumstances, right? If we are used to the feeling of being unhappy, we will use our job and our partner and this and that and the other just to affirm how we actually feel.
Yeah.
Like, I'm unhappy because of.
Yes.
Right? When the reality is, like, that feeling of unhappiness is there, and you're projecting that.
Yeah.
And the thing is a mirror of how you actually feel.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always found it fascinating that, like, I'll be happy when I've lost the weight, when I've won the lottery. I fucking hate that one. when I've retired, you know, when it's, but like the truth of it is when you're happy or happier, you will get. When you're happy, you will leave your job. In some way. When you're happy, you will have a better relationship. When you're happy, you will lose the weight. The problem is trying to do things whilst hating yourself or hating the process is never going to fucking work properly.
Most people punish their body to get one that they love.
Yes.
So like
it's stupid, isn't it?
If you had a dog and you constantly punished it and you never shown it any love, like the animal's going to be, you know, not the expression of who it could be.
Yeah.
Same with yourself. If you constantly punish your body.
Yeah.
You starve yourself. And like, let's just be real. Like, if you're eating less than 1,000 calories a day, you're starving yourself.
Yeah.
If you're eating less than 1,200 calories a day, you're probably starving yourself.
Yeah.
If you are going to the gym because you hate your body, you are punishing you're not in a place of like alignment.
Yeah.
You're out of alignment.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard.
Yeah. You have to love your body to make it work for you.
Absolutely.
You have to love
You've got to show it love.
Yeah, exactly.
Not just like mentally love it. You've got to show it love, nourish it, hydrate
it.
Move
Yeah,
it.
you don't eat well because you hate it. You eat like shit all the time because you hate your body in some
Yeah.
way. When you love your body, you nourish it, you hydrate it,
Mm.
you feed it good, wholesome food.
People take better care of plants than they do of themselves.
Yes, absolutely. You're fucking right, mate. Yeah, sunlight, water, yeah, bit of nutrition. There we go. It's mad. Talking to it
Unbelievable.
nicely, putting it in a nice view. Yeah,
Unbelievable.
yeah,
Like, it's crazy.
yeah. It is. It's bonkers. The self-love thing is hard to get your head around, and I think as well, especially for men, because self-love kind of it doesn't necessarily scream masculine in a lot of ways. I think it's kind of like
Feminine, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very feminine way, and it's hard as well because there is a lot of guys struggling with that in terms of loving their body, loving themselves mentally, allowing themselves time and freedom to be themselves and to be curious and discover and feed them, get away from intoxicating themselves every weekend just to feel good, because that's what you do as a man. And
Well, they do it to feel.
well, yeah, it's all about
To
feeling.
feel.
Like chasing feelings, aren't we?
Like, I don't know about you, but in the past, I've been in periods of my life where I was never too happy, never too sad, never too joyful, never too low. I was like, it was just this like middle of the ground, like never really feeling the extremities of anything, right? Never, like, I remember a time when I was like, I don't know if I can cry. Like, I don't, even if I try, like, I would visualize horrible things that could happen in my life. And I'm like, don't think I could cry.
Mm-hmm.
And so we can actually put ourselves in a situation to feel. Like, why do you think fighters fight? Some people fight to actually feel, to feel pain,
absolutely,
to get hurt, to like get the depths of their emotion, to fight. Why do you think we drink alcohol? Like, why do you, like, some people could never imagine having sex sober.
Yeah.
Right? Because the external allows them to open up and feel. Like, it's men particularly. Like, it's, women have no problem talking about their feelings. Men find it very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm fucking generalizing massively here, by the way. But I'm trying to speak in terms of, like, that masculine energy is very linear. It's very driven. It's very boundary based. It's very like rigid.
Yeah.
The feminine's very flowy, removal of barriers.
Yeah. And it's the feminine, dare we say the feminine is more curious.
Yep, absolutely.
In many ways.
Yeah, flowy. Because,
And as well, they tend to have a support network. Usually women like to chat and that more so than men just like to talk shit and have a laugh and take the piss.
Yep.
That's a manly thing, but taking the piss is not a feminine thing. It's more a masculine thing. It's not to say it doesn't happen, but again, we are generalizing here. But at the same time, women tend to have more of a supportive network to be able to express and do, whereas as a man, it's hidden.
Well, it's
hidden
socially
emotion.
accepted for a woman to be emotional and to cry.
Of course it is, yes.
Right?
Yes,
As a man,
absolutely.
it's not necessarily. And I'm very fucking hell, I'm blessed. I'm fortunate as fuck, like, in Liverpool. And Jacob will tell you, right? Like, he's like, he probably doesn't even realize like how much of an impact he's actually having on the city just by producing these podcasts. Like, it's a unique thing that is happening in Liverpool right now. I personally feel where there's just such a movement of like amazing people producing amazing content, amazing podcasts. And it's facilitated largely because there's a place where we can facilitate that. There wouldn't be half the amount of content coming out. And I look at other cities and yes, maybe there are things happening, but here there's like a real special movement right now. I've got a group of men that I'm part of called the Winner's Circle. And we get together every other Thursday morning, like usually meet in nature, like 5 a.m. really early. And that is a place where each person could be vulnerable and open and be like, you know what? Like, I'm in a fucking tough time right now. I feel like shit. Like, I'm fucking, and people will cry and they'll open up and it's accepted and it's held and it's welcomed.
Yeah.
And it's acknowledged.
And it sounds beautiful.
And it's amazing and it's normal. And we need more of that.
Yeah.
Like, men need to feel safe to be held in a space.
I agree.
And unfortunately, through generational trauma, parents and fathers and, like growing up, like if we look at it from my granddad grew up in the war.
Yeah. Mine too.
His father was at war.
Yeah.
PTSD, never diagnosed.
Yeah.
Fucking checked out, never spoke about it, never dealt with it.
Yeah.
Emotionally closed down, raising men that are emotionally closed down, raising children that are emotionally closed down.
Pattern.
Then to us, and it takes somebody in some part of that cycle to be like, listen, like let's
The 4%.
let's
right?
change.
Yeah.
Like let's do something here. Like it's not okay. Like it's not okay to bottle things up. It's not. Like it will end in one or two ways: implosion or explosion.
Yeah.
Like suicide in men is a real fucking thing. Like
Oh,
it's ridiculous, and women too. But like the statistics heavily lean towards men, and I think curiosity is just like it's fucking way. Like we've spent a lot of time talking about it today. It's powerful.
Massive.
So what would happen if I did let go?
Yeah.
Like I am clinging on by my fingertips on the cliff's edge of life here. What would happen if I let go? What is my level of universal trust? What is my level of like depth to just know that I'm held by something greater than myself? Like it's big.
Yeah. It is hard to invoke curiosity into people because we are just closed off as a
Well, what does a
generation.
coach do? What does a therapist do? They take you through the process of curiosity. They ask you questions that you won't ask of yourself.
Yeah.
And eventually what you have to do is self-regulate. Like if it takes a period of time to externally regulate, to have somebody ask you those questions, to have somebody ask you those difficult questions. Thinking about your dad, right? Jeff, did you say?
Yeah.
It's like thinking about him, asking somebody like, why do you do that? Like what? Most people are uncomfortable with being asked questions of any description,
Yeah.
right? And they'll avoid it. And that's the intimacy thing. Like we want to get so close, but not too close.
Yeah.
We want to get close enough, but not too close.
Yep.
And I think we just need to seek it out, man. Like seek the discomfort of those conversations. Like it's already in your fucking head. Like you're already battling with this in every day. Like seek something out that's going to allow that to go and come to the surface. You've got a fucking 2-liter bottle of Coke here, like shaking up every day.
Yeah.
And either that lid's going to blow off or you're going to allow yourself to like just open the lid slightly, let a little bit of pressure out.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you dropped a bottle of fizzy drink on the floor, like you wouldn't just take the lid off and let it out, go everywhere.
Yeah.
You just slowly let some pressure out. And that's what we've got to start doing. Seek out fitness to do that. Seek out a martial art to do that. Seek out a circle of friends. Create a circle of friends where that is okay for you to cry and fucking share your vulnerabilities and know, like, I know in that winner circle, like if we are around a fire and we talk about shit, it's going nowhere. Like it stays in that circle.
Yeah.
And that's the power of like cultivating that and building that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes one person to build that.
Yeah. I like the idea of the pressure release in the bottle. I use the analogy of the pressure release valves. Being a plumber, that was the one thing that I took away. Is in a heating system, if the pressure builds up too much, it blows off outside for a safety mechanism, so it doesn't fucking blow the house to shit with the water. It's the same with like your training. Yeah, we all have a pressure release valve, but it's just the method we use in order to relieve that pressure. Unfortunately, it's often drink, it's drugs, it's food, it's porn, it's whatever. Like that is our pressure relief, when there is so many different ways you can do that. The most underutilized is training and exercise.
1,000%.
Like regardless of what it is, even if it's fucking walking, if it's kettlebells, it's swimming, it's martial arts, it's weightlifting, it's body weight, whatever. As long as it's producing a physical release, you can vent physically through such a positive exertion that's amazing what that will do for you mentally.
And like, when was the last time you went on a walk in nature without your phone and felt worse for it?
Well, exactly. You don't.
Like you don't.
Yeah, if you never regret the ones you do. Right?
And I think like, again, masculine, feminine energies. I think we've got to lean into some like feminine stuff as well. Like masculine's very like, let's run, let's fucking train hard, let's do martial art, like, which is amazing. Like I'm all for it. But equally, like I like yoga and I like meditation and I like flowy stuff and I like to do a lot of that side of it. It's like yin and yang. Like we all have a feminine in us. It's when we deny that we become unhappy. And so that piece of us that we've got to really cultivate.
Yeah, definitely.
But we also need the rigidity and linear, like,
of course we do.
Structure.
We need it.
Discipline.
We need a fucking kick up the arse. Most people do. Like that's why most people come to me, and that's what most people actually say before they sign up with me. You're like, I just need to kick up the arse, mate. I need to kick up the arse. And I'm like, at first I'll give you that. I'll fucking push you. I'll drive you into the ground. But eventually, then I need to say, right, let's do some yoga. And then when I started, because I coach a lot of men in my gym and online. And then when we do things like yoga, which we have like a monthly yoga practice, I've also got like replays in our group and stuff. And when we approach that, some people don't turn up or some people are really hesitant or resistant.
It's an edge for them.
Yeah, because it exposes you. Yoga exposes you where you're tight, where you're unbalanced, where you feel daft. Because again, it's pulling off the intensity pedal, and we're just easing into the consistency pedal. If that, for lack of a better analogy there, but like that, a lot of men kind of get their head around that. It's like fucking go, go, go. Well, hang on, what if we just took a bit of a stretch off you and put our mind into our body a little more, rather than just putting my mind into pain, discipline, and sacrifice and grit, which you need. But what if we just took off the gas a bit and just eased into something which was mildly uncomfortable, that exposed you a little bit, that just made you feel different, that would benefit you in a way that you can't comprehend yet, because you can't. When you give someone yoga first, they're like, what's the point in this?
Yeah.
But it's not until the after effect of that release and getting in positions and doing things you have never done with your body and your mind, that opens a new avenue. But again, it's curiosity, isn't it? I think you could probably call this podcast Curious.
Yeah.
Or Curiosity.
Yeah.
That's
it. Yeah.
That's what we've talked about the whole time, right?
And I think it's like, you know, we come back to the tension and trauma in the body, and the body has a memory. Like you see people in yoga like have big releases, big like we hold so much in our body.
Absolutely.
In our posture, the way that we hold ourselves. You can tell an unconfident person, you can tell an anxious person immediately. And as you start to do, you know, postures that open up your chest and your heart space and open up your hips, like things start to happen for people. And I almost feel like on an unconscious level, like the tension that a man holds is the lid on the top of the bottle. And they know if they do a little bit of yoga, they're going to start letting some of that stuff out. And they don't want to, because they're afraid, again, coming back to like hanging on the mountain, like what happens if I do let go?
Yeah.
Like I am concerned. I'm worried that if I let go, it's, like we were saying before, like an object in motion tends to stay in motion. That can work for you and against you. Yeah. Like if you're in motion in the wrong direction, then you are heading at speed to a place you don't necessarily want to go. Yes. And sometimes that goes like, fuck, like, let me stop. Yeah. I just got to like stop. Yeah. It's like, let me take a minute. Yeah. I don't think you'll ever regret in your life taking a minute for yourself. You might regret decisions. You might regret things that happen because of it. You might regret outcomes. But if you just go, listen, like, I just need to fucking cover up, take some punches right now. And that's what I've got to do. Yeah. I don't think you can ever regret that. Yeah, absolutely. It's like climbing the mountain, then realizing getting to the top, thinking, fuck, it's the wrong one. Yeah. Yeah. Shit, I've spent all this time climbing the wrong one, not realizing actually I should have checked my map. I should have checked around us. I should have dialed in to see how far I've came, if I'm on the right track, where I need to go next. Let's take a pit stop. But it's that treadmill of life, innit? I had a conversation with a girl in the coffee shop this morning, and she was just generally like asking me. So I was reading my Kindle. She's like, what do you read? What kind of stuff? And we're just having a conversation. And we were talking about goals and like where you want to go in life. And I get pretty deep pretty quick with people. And then I was like, what's the most important thing about, like, if we wanted to drive to Cornwall, what's the most important thing in order to get directions? A destination. Nope. It's a piece of the puzzle. A map? Yeah. So like people think about destination, right? Mm-hmm. And that's a part of it. But if I'm in Liverpool and you're in South Shields, yeah, and we both want to get to Cornwall, do we need the same directions? No. So then our starting point is massively important in the destination. Yeah. And most people don't do that. They don't take stock of where they're at. They don't audit where they're at. They don't acknowledge where they're at. They don't understand where they're at. And all they're doing is trying to get to somewhere without understanding where they're beginning. Yeah. And I think we've got to take a step back sometimes again and just audit, like, where am I at right now? Like, one of the biggest things you could do is spend a weekend with yourself, a notepad, a big fuck off piece of paper, and just write, where am I at? Work, life, relationship, kids, parenthood, parents, like as a child, as a brother, as a sister, as a auntie, as an uncle, like, and just go like, this is where I'm at, and just take stock. Yeah. And then ask yourself the question, like, where would I like to be better? Right? There's a difference between doing your best and being at your best. Yeah. Doing your best and trying hard, great. But like, who are you at your best? Who are you at the best piece of who you could be? Like, who is Luke John Harrison at his best? What does he do?
Different level of thinking, isn't it?
Yeah, like
Different
where does he show up differently to where he is right now? Doing your best is trying hard with your current limitations.
Yeah.
Being at your best is thinking beyond your current limitations.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We're nearly done.
Oh, well.
We got a few minutes.
All right.
To wrap this up, let's you've gone through massive mental transformation, drugs and alcohol. So you're pretty sober now? Like you don't drink at all?
Yeah. Like I'll have a couple of Baileys at Christmas. I might have a cocktail or two on holiday whenever we go, which was pre-COVID. I haven't been out. Last time I was drunk was early 2019. Previous to that was 2016. So you're talking, the last line of cocaine I had was my 30th birthday. So 6 years of hard drugs. In terms of being drunk, we're talking over 3 years now since I've been properly intoxicated. Last drink was Christmas Eve. I had 1 Bailey's. Prior to that, it was a year before that. So yeah,
complete, and it's not, and this is the thing that I think, I remember Tony Robbins said this years ago. He was like, the day in which you know that you've cracked the code is when you stop counting the days at which you've stopped. So like people try and stop smoking and they're like, I've stopped smoking for a day, a week. It's like, it's not even in your mind right now, right? Like you don't, just had to,
I'd have to work it out.
You had to work out backwards. It's not like day such and such. It's just like, no, it's who I am. I don't drink anymore. I don't do hard drugs anymore.
Yeah. All the time.
And, that's a big shift. Plus going from an employee to building a business, to speaking, to writing books, to doing all this stuff. Like, what would you attribute like that growth to? Like a couple of things just so people can take it.
Number one is relentless consistency. Like there's no fucking magic pill. There's no golden egg. There's no fucking one strategy that's going to solve it. There's no one thing that I can say. It's just fucking getting up every day and thinking, how can I progress today? Like relentless consistency, not just consistency, but ensuring that you're doing something almost every day, as in more days of the week than not. Like you don't have to go to the gym every day for results, but it would probably help you to go more days of the week than not. Like, because I see a lot of people going 2 or 3 times, then they'll miss a week, then whatever. But when you do something more days of the week than not, that's when it becomes ingrained in your identity. That's when it becomes a part of your character and your habits. If you just do it a couple of times, it's like something that you do, not part of who you are.
Yep.
So I think now relentless consistency in terms of training, diet, but obviously content as well. Like I've got thousands of bits of content online. Just having a presence, regularly being the one that shows up, especially when it comes to a business sense. Like you can look on my timeline on Insta or Facebook and there'll be something every day. Maybe not a Sunday, but every other day there'll be something there of value, of entertainment, of use. You can go on YouTube and find whatnot about me. There's just something there all the time, no matter what. Even if it's small, it's there, it's consistent. And I think...
And that's for you as much as anyone else.
Yeah.
That's what people got to remember.
Absolutely,
like,
definitely.
That's your gym. Yes, that's your skill development. That's your daily grinding.
If I'm getting a bit out of maybe what I need to vent or what I need to cement into my own learning, because I'm not really talking to them, I'm talking to me.
Yep.
Every bit of content I write, even this right now, like I'm not just talking to you or the people who are going to watch this. I'm talking to me as a cement of remind yourself of this, what you've learned. Remember that this is part of who you are.
It's reflection, It's reflection.
Total reflection. So relentless consistency in terms of just daily effort, just regular effort, more days a week than not. And I would say keeping a good handle on energy and routine, health routine. Like go to bed at 9. I go to bed at 9 o'clock, basically 7 nights a week.
Yeah.
9:30 maybe on a Friday or Saturday.
Isn't that boring?
It's a really boring life. Yeah.
That's
I'm up at 5 most mornings, but I get a lot done.
Absolutely.
And, I move almost every day, exercise, work out, drink lots of water, the simple stuff, but just something simple like getting to bed on time every night, drinking enough water every day, keeping your energy on point. Because I wouldn't be able to write 2 books. I wouldn't be able to produce content every day, coach to a high level, work on my self-development as well as help other people and serve other people if my energy was shocking. So relentless consistency.
Can only give from overflow.
Exactly. Yeah. So fill my own energy.
Yep.
So I'll get up extra early. I'll sit and I'll do some breath work. I'll do some journaling. I'll jump in the sea for 5 minutes, 10
It's
minutes.
the curse of being a giver as well, right? Like I think this is what people don't realize. It's the curse of the gift of desire to help others is that you have to do more shit so that you can give your excess to others.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I can't sit here and preach about, eating well every day if I don't just eat shit.
Now I have a glass of water. Luke has none. I can only pour water into his glass if I have some.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like he can't pour water in my glass right now because it's empty.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you like a refill?
I'm good. I'm good, thank you. I mean, you're talking to Luke, wasn't he?
Would you like a refill?
In it, we got a minute or so, haven't we?
I'll do it when we're done. Yeah.
But yeah, that's like I say, all of that stuff is so that you can serve. Like this is the thing. This is going to sound really abstract, and I'm trying to deliver this in the best way possible.
Okay.
But to stay in low energy, to stay in low vibration, to stay in low frequency, to stay in a depressed state, because it is a state, it's not a destination.
Yes, absolutely.
Or a diagnosis.
Yeah.
This is where it sounds dodgy, but
yeah, I hear you.
low state, low vibration, low energy, low frequency.
Mm-hmm.
A depressed state is a selfish act because you cannot give to others. And to take time to fill your own cup is to be generous because then you can give to others. Yeah. And it's your desire to pull yourself out of that by filling your buckets every day, socially, physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, like filling that every single day so that you can give to others. You can give back. Like you can give from your abundance.
Yes.
Which is an amazing thing.
Yeah. And most people operate from a place of what can I get rather than what can I give.
Yeah.
That's another philosophy.
Well, if you are starving and you're drowning, oh no, you're dehydrated, you've got nothing in your cups, like how can you do anything but want to take? Do you get me?
Yeah, of course.
When you're in scarcity and you've not got abundance, when you're in lack, how can you do anything other than want to take? When you're in abundance and you've got more than everything that you require. Like abundance is not about stuff or money or objects or things. Abundance is a feeling, right? It's a feeling, it's an energy, it's something you generate. When you are in abundance, how can you not want to give that? Because you don't have the mindset of this is going to go and disappear. There is no scarcity around it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're stuck in scarcity, all you can do is take. You can't give.
Yeah.
Nothing else to give.
Absolutely.
Anything else?
We done? I think so.
On the button. Thank you so much, brother, for coming.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.